Hey Chuck, what's going on?
Oh, hey boss, how you
Hey,
doing?
can I see that shackle?
Yes, sir.
So, you know this isn't the original pin that came with this, right?
Well, it matches the nut.
Yeah, it matches the nut, but it's not from this shackle. It's got to be the original pin that came with the shackle.
Oh.
Right? So we're going to have to try to order one or we're going to have to replace this.
Okay.
All right?
Thank
okay,
you,
bud.
boss.
And what about that? What are you doing with this eye bolt here?
I'm not sure, sir. I thought it would help to hold that there.
Yeah, this eye bolt's a little too short, Chuck.
Oh.
This is going to have to go in the trash because remember you need 1.5 times the thread engagement, right? Grab onto that, Chuck. See what's holding the load?
Not much.
Those threads are holding the load, aren't they, Chuck?
Right. Yes,
There's
sir.
not enough thread here. Somebody cut it off. They modified it. They altered or modified it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get rid of these and we'll get rid of this stuff. Hey, so let's talk about that Gulfport job.
Yep. Yes, sirree, boss.
Well, can we go over your lift plan?
What lift plan? I never got a lift plan.
Chuck, you know you need to do a lift plan.
Oh, sure. You see, I'm going to pick up the load from over there, and I'm going to move it right over here.
Really?
Right.
Actually, the load is moving to the left, Chuck. Remember, directions are always given from the perspective of the crane operator. It has nothing to do with our right and left.
Right.
It's his right and left, right? No, seriously, it's left. And you absolutely need a lift plan. It's your responsibility to always do a lift plan, Chuck. That load's $500,000, and if something happens to it, it'll take months to replace it.
I guess I was left out of that conversation.
Well, I've got to make a few phone calls, and when I get back here in about an hour, I need you to go over the lift plan with me, so can you draw it all up?
All right, boss.
Hey, Chuck, how's that lift plan coming?
Oh, hey, boss, here you go.
What's this?
It's the lift plan you asked me for.
Chuck, this isn't a lift plan.
Oh, yes, it is. It says lift plan right here.
Ah, Chuck, this is no laughing matter. There's too much this doesn't tell me. First of all, the weight is not 30,000 pounds, it's 30 tons, Chuck. That's 60,000 pounds. That's a big mistake. You've made this mistake before.
Well, I'm planning on lifting this one right. I mean, left.
So remember, this also doesn't show me where the CG is.
Oh, you mean, how much money do I collect?
What?
You said this is a COD job, right? Cash on delivery?
No, Chuck. CG is the center of gravity. Do you even know what the radius is on this load?
Nah, I don't listen to the radio while I'm working, boss. It distracts me from my social media.
Chuck, I don't think you listen to anything. It's radius, right? It's the distance from the center of the crane's pin to the center of the hook here or the load. And you know you have to calculate the weight of the load, including the load chart deductions for the load, the rigging, the spreader beams we're using, the weight of the cranes, the load block, the ball, the boom tip shiv, the jib stowed and erected, or the extra parts of line not needed to lift the load.
I gotta do math, man. Math is hard. 4 out of 3 people struggle with numbers, boss.
Chuck, I need to make sure that we got a big enough crane to do this lift.
Now, why would we need a bigger crane, boss?
Well, Chuck, just a minute ago, you showed a drawing and the load weight was 30,000 pounds. When actually, the load weighs 30 tons or 60,000 pounds. Do you think I should be worried, Chuck? You did flip a crane once.
Oh man, that was over 6 months ago, boss. Why are we still talking about that?
Why are we still talking about it? Chuck, we have everything laid out on a piece of paper, or in your case, a piece of old cardboard. I haven't figured out how I'm going to fold this up and even put it in the file that I have to keep it in.
Well, that's why I use this big piece of cardboard, so there's, plenty of room for all that math we gotta do.
Chuck, a safe lift depends on a whole lot of people filling different roles, including the operators, the riggers, the signal person, the crane owners, the crane users, the lift directions, the supervisors. But the key, Chuck, is the communication between all of us. We all have to be on the same page. So we need to have a plan that we can share with everybody, that we can make them sign, that we can review to do that with.
Okay, boss, I'll get on it.
Please don't be like Chuck. Find out your load weight, make sure it's correct, determine where the center of gravity is, find your radius from the center of the pin of the crane to the center of the load, compare that to the load chart. Remember the load chart deductions for the ball of the crane, the block of the crane, the jib if it's stowed or erected, extra parts of cable, maybe a boom tip shiv, and deduct all that. And remember, if you go over 75%, including those things, of the chart capacity, you have a critical lift on your hands whether you like it or not. So make sure that you do the critical lift paperwork and everybody signs it. Now, you can find a lot more information on all of this stuff if you'll look up on the internet ASME P30.1 lift planning. You can buy a copy of it there, or, and in addition to, you need to look up B30.5. That has all the information about truck cranes and crawler cranes and some of these requirements and deductions that we're talking about.